So we're going to be looking for another payroll scheme. If you haven't done the first one, the ghost employees, please go do that first, because it's the beginning of using IDEA. We'll be reusing some of those skills here. So now we're going to look for paychecks that were written on other than payday, because they're supposed to pay on Friday, except for the bonuses in December and maybe if there's another bonus during the year. But all the paychecks are supposed to be on Friday. So the first thing we looked for were paychecks to people that weren't working. And we found quite a few. And we'll include that in our report. Now we're going to be looking for paychecks that were written other than on payday and see if there's anything strange there. So here are the files we generated in the last investigation that we did, and I'm going to go back up to our joined database, which has all the paychecks linked to the payroll files or the personnel files or employee files. And I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to double click somewhere in the middle of this and bring up the field manipulation screen, and I'm going to add gross pay. So I'm going to append, and I'm going to add gross pay. And gross pay is going to be the sum of regular pay. All I have to do is type the R and then double click on regular, and then add sick pay. I can just double click, and then add vacation pay. And then I can click on the validation, make sure it understands my script, and it did, so that's good, and I can hit OK. That way one field will have all the pay in it, because I want to see all the pay that occurred other than on a Friday, not just regular pay, because there's no telling what sort of nonsense has been going on here. I mean, we've already seen some pretty crazy stuff. Okay, so let's go looking for payments on days that were not a Friday. So I'm going to go up here to Analysis, and I'm going to do a direct extraction, which means I'm going to reach into the database and grab the particular events, paychecks that I want. And it says, what do you want? Well, file name is, I'm going to look for non-Friday paychecks. And then I'm going to hit the calculator, and I'm going to give it some script that's specific to IDEA. And so as you got more skills in IDEA, you would start learning these scripts, but it's not anything necessarily intuitive. So it knows days of the week. That's a particular command. So we're asking it to find the day of the week, and we've got to tell it which variable, and so we want the date. And date should turn blue, meaning that I identify that, recognize that as a valid variable in the database that we're working on. And then we want greater than and then less than. So that is the not equal to. And Friday is the 6th day of the week for IDEA. Okay, so we need it. We want to know any dates that are not 6. So show me any paychecks that were issued on a day other than Friday. All right, so let's see if it likes our script. We're going to hit the, and it does because it returned it here. And if it didn't, delete out what you did and redo it. And then we can hit OK. And we have a new return, a new report here that there were 54 paychecks that weren't on a Friday. Okay, so let's have a look and see, because some of them might have been those bonus checks that they wrote at the end of the year that might not have been done on a Friday, and those might be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a pivot table. So let's go up here to Analysis, Pivot Table, and let's create, these are the non-Friday paychecks. We've got a pivot table, and what we want to put on the top is the employee ID. Names would just make it too wide. All right, and so then on the left here we want the date of the paychecks. So I'm just going to drag and drop employee ID at the top and date over here on the left. And then our new variable, this gross pay, where is gross pay? There it is. I'm going to take that and drag it and drop it in the middle somewhere. and it will populate, and then we can close this out. It will populate this screen. So, do we recognize some bonus dates? So I see here on December 1st of both years we have what looks like bonus payments. So I want to remove those as being freak events. And I'm going to make this a little bigger here. And then I'm going to use this drop down, and I can scroll down and unclick the December 1st for both years. And then click outside again, and it will update and remove those two from my screen. And now it looks like there might have been another bonus, one at the end of July and one at the end of August, and so I'm going to remove those bonus payments too. So let me go down here, the end of August, unclick that, and then the end of July in the next year, unclick that, and then click outside of it. And I now have isolated it down to non-Friday paychecks that seem to be unique to two particular employees. And I wonder who those employees are. And we can look that up in a minute. But these look like reportable events. These are paychecks that weren't on a bonus day and they weren't on a regular Friday, and there shouldn't be anything that's not on a regular payday or a bonus day. So these will be part of our investigation, and we will download these. Let us add to this the employee's name. Oh, nice. It's the Spies couple, Mr. and Mrs. Spies. So we can see here that, not surprisingly, the extra paychecks went to the Mr. and Mrs. of the paycheck generating authority. So Sharika is the one that is generating the paycheck, so it looks like she paid herself some extra payments, and she paid her husband some extra payments, $21,000 to her and $55,000 to her husband. So these are reportable as part of our fraud investigation, in addition to the ghost employee payments that we found. So we will be exporting these. So I'm going to remove this. It's not a very pretty way I did it. It's not very pretty. Let me see whether or not I can pretty this up. Nope, that was a bad idea. Let's do File Undo. So you messed it up. The good news on IDEA is you're never messing up the original file. So I can always close this out and just rerun it. And that's not a bad thing because it gives you practice. So add days of the week, date, not equal to 6. It likes it. And we can do the pivot table again. Could have named it. The date's over here. Maybe we should just go ahead and do first name at the top. And then we want that gross pay. There we go. And you go. And close that out. And let's remove those bonus days again. Make that a little bigger so I can see what I'm doing. So December 1st of both years, unclick. And then those bonuses at the end of, was it July the first year? No, August the first year and July the second. Okay. Unclick and then click outside, and there we go. So now we have the information for both Sharika and Timothy, the extra paychecks that they got for both years. And you remember from the first one, hopefully, and if not, you'll get a chance to review it, to go to Home Export, and whichever version of Excel you liked, change the breadcrumbs to be to your favorite. And we're calling this non-Fridays. There we go. And OK. And then when you go over to your project files, you should be able to see this and open it up. And again, we have some columns that are too small for its contents, and we can double click on the edge and it'll open up and expose all the contents so that it can be inspected. And we'll come back and clean up these various files and combine them into a professional report, which you will be submitting in the Dropbox once we've done several of these tests and you've gotten a chance to practice some idea work. Okay, that's the end of looking for non-Friday paychecks. We'll do the next test in the next tutorial.